Live, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. We've got somebody who hasn't been on the show in a while. Akash is back. Akash, it's been 9 days, not had any football. How are you feeling? Well, Leicester football anyway.
I'm missing football as a whole because it has been really monotonous. I think everything concluded, even the Formula One concluded. It was fascinating, but without Leicester, weekend doesn't seem to be complete in any way.
hmm Yeah, it's really something. But we finally got a game on. It look, wasn't sure if it was going to go ahead because of obviously what's happened recently. The game looks like it's going ahead. Leicester City confirmed it. We're going to Liverpool in the cup. What are your initial thoughts of the game? Because there's a mixed bag. I'm not sure if it's going to be a great game. I'm not sure if it's going to be I'm a bit all over the place, but for some reason I'm feeling confident about this one.
It all depends what team Jurgen Klopp finally chooses to play because he is always complaining about the fixture congestion and his team not getting proper rest. We have seen that Jurgen Klopp treats the Carabao Cup competition as a lower thing for him, substandard thing for him, but on the other hand, Pep Guardiola loves winning it. So I think an underfeeding will be partaking in this game, and if we even play 50% from the senior squad and we mix it up a bit who are not getting chances into the bench, I think we are capable of winning this one and causing a real upset in the Carabao Cup.
I think so too. And again, as you were saying, Klopp doesn't take it seriously, so it is our opportunity to shine. I mean, going back, I think obviously the game before this, in terms of the
Mm.
Newcastle game, we didn't get your thoughts on it, but I just want to get your thoughts on the the Newcastle game as well, because going into that, I wasn't feeling confident. To get out there with a clean sheet and 4 goals to build into this game, it's got to be a positive.
I think the clean sheet part matters the most. Second clean sheet of the season. Casper wasn't looking at all, confident. The line was all over the place, and really a win like that, even if not the Newcastle is relegation bound, it still instills some of the confidence that has been missing for a long time. I mean, we have spoken a lot about the recurring issues, and it's good once it for all to not see it is so near to the holidays. I think it's a fabulous thing to witness such kind of a performance. But then again, COVID situation hits, and then everything goes, puts a stopper on it. And now I'm very cautious how they're gonna turn up against Liverpool. How many players are gonna be fit? How many more cases are gonna show up? Because the finals testing will be done before the match, so I'm pretty scared at this moment.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because in total, I think overall, I think there was 13 players out or 14 players out, and the day before the game against Tottenham, it was, I think, 11 cases in total. Now we don't know if these cases, again, they haven't specified who it is because of, I think it's like a the privacy of health, but also we don't know the severity. And we've said this, everybody knows about COVID now. Let's be honest, everybody knows about what's happening. And as you were saying, we're not sure who it is or what it is. However, we're looking back at this and we're going, okay, we would have no fit centre backs for that game, for the Tottenham game. That's going to come. It's obviously going to change my mind for this one. In terms of this, it's really hard to predict a lineup and things like that as well. But after the win that we had, I feel like we're going to come into this confidence. We can go, do you know what? We've had 9 days rest, whoever it is, and we're going to try and attack them and try and get on with it, because there's definitely there's a good feeling about this one. Again, I've said this before with Leicester City this season, and I've been horribly wrong, but anything is possible. And again, with them just playing on Sunday, it's going to kind of work in our favors. Bearing in mind they've got 3 days break, and as you were saying, Klopp doesn't play a strong side in the EFL.
I think our team is more than capable of containing them. Even we have so many players missing. The back line is, I don't know who is going to turn up, but we should be feeling pretty confident because we don't give so many youngsters chances, because you see players like Luke Thomas, Kieran Roosberry Hall. You can't say these players are really junior players, because they have established themselves into the top stage. And Luke Thomas has been around 2 seasons now. This is his second season, and I think they're fleshed out. They can carry the mantle of the team, what the manager wants. And I would be really disappointed if this gap that we got isn't utilized in a positive way, because you saw the first outbreak hit Tottenham Hotspur and how they have contained Liverpool yesterday. So a man like Conte, if he can utilize that break to his benefit, I think we are more than capable of solving some of our issues. We stopped right when a few of our reoccurring problems were put at a stop in that Newcastle game. I think it should be building up from there, because last time, if you remember, before the international break, James Maddison was benched regularly, and they turned they analyzed him. He worked with this in close proximity with the staff. He used that part of the international break to develop his game, go over the video session, see what was missing, what was wrong, how can he improve upon what he has been missing after that hip injury, and he came back stronger. And now you can see the fruition of it. James Madison has been brilliant. Tillemans has been brilliant, and I would be very shocked if some of the defensive problems are not being fixed in this precious moment.
Yeah, I mean, defensive issues is probably the area that even against Newcastle, I wasn't convinced. It was better, but it still wasn't great. Obviously, with Johnny Evans going off, I don't think he'll be available for that game again. I don't know if Brendan Rodgers has spoke to the media. I've tried to have a look, but I couldn't find anything. So we're just going on skeptics at the moment on whatever's available. So coming into that, obviously, yeah, as you were saying, defensively, I think there will be problems. However, I could say players like Mane or Salah being rested for this one. I've got to look at Liverpool's fixtures. However, it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be easy for us. But I think the last time we played Liverpool in the cup, I want to say 2000. Oh, Alex is here. Alex, sorry to throw you in. Yes, just coming back. Sorry, I have to ask a question to Akash first. In terms of the way that this is working with Leicester, and the last time we played them, I think 2018 under Craig Shakespeare, 2-0 win, Shinji Okazaki and Slimani. I'm kind of expecting that kind of performance again, but it's obviously a very different situation. Akash.
I sort of think that Jurgen Klopp is going to utilize all his players that can go into the AFCON, because he is very
Mm,
skeptical about sending them. Liverpool is going to host some meetings and try to stop AFCON at all costs. And what is it in for Klopp? I mean, he will try to utilize and cut short their rest who are going into the AFCON, because he strictly disapproves of the tournament taking place in mid-season. And I think, to just to prove a point and just to give a cold shoulder to these respective small nations, he will try to utilize most of the players that are going to be away. And that could be again, we can be in the middle of that crossfire, because if players like Mane and Salah are not being rested for this match, because I'm keeping all my eggs in that one basket that they are not playing, and I'm assuming everything based on that account. So if that happens, then we are in for a deep trouble.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we could be. Alex, again, great to join. Great, thank you for joining. Coming into this kind of, obviously we've had 9 days break, and I was just saying to Akash, like I was saying to me as well. I miss football, and even though it's terrible football, I miss talking rubbish about Leicester City a little bit. Coming into this game, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's hard to kind of feel like what you're going to expect, because not only have we not played in an eternity, but the players that are healthy and not are changing by the day. So I'm kind of remaining optimistic with kind of like that glass half full mentality, because we could be seeing a completely vastly different lineup than what we could expect on a normal day. So heading into this, it's just more of like a open mindset. Okay, we'll see what we have and what we can do, because right now we're kind of at the mercy of this thing that just continues to just be a pest in everyone's rear end. So eventually, yeah, it's just a full blown malarkey type thing. But eventually we'll I guess on the day of the match we'll figure out how we feel, and we'll see that lineup come out. And that I feel like we'll have that little bit of a, either we'll have that confidence boost, or we will be like, oh good. great.
Yeah.
Neil's playing center back. They're desperate, so
They are very, very desperate. If that's the case, they're going to try and wheel me out somehow. Shout out, Hayden, new here. Make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff as well. Before we move on, Akash, Ethan, even into Ethan, but Akash, again, saw your article about Lee Congerton. Great work. Just want to get your thoughts on that as well in terms of the Congerton situation, because that came out of absolutely nowhere. It's about 12 hours ago, and then all of a sudden we go, "Oh, he's leaving to Atalanta." What? That's 5,000 to 1. If anybody that predicted that one.
Absolutely staggering news. It took me into a panic mode because he has done some questionable signings in the recent past, but all those have been, you know, on the advocate part of Brendan Rodgers. He wanted players like Vestergaard, Bertrand, a team that concedes 9 goals against us for 2 seasons against Manchester United. Then it follows it up with Manchester United. I think that was on Brendan Rodgers. And Lee has done some brilliant signings in the recent past. Players like Patson Daka, Wesley Fofana, they're all his, picking his brain and coming out of those sorts of signings. So I think it's kind of a huge loss, but it's up for debate because people will obviously call out for the players who have had hit and miss seasons. Players like Bertrand doesn't leave a good resume on his departure. But again, Atalanta wouldn't invest in a person that they don't regard them in their highest esteems, because their recruitment team has been one of the best in Europe. I think Borussia Dortmund, Atalanta, and Leicester City are some of the teams that have, nailed this game of recruitment of unproven talent and tapping in them and investing in them and selling them at higher estimated values. So if Atalanta didn't see anything, Gasperini didn't see anything in that man, I think he wouldn't even be up for contention. So it's a mess, but I think we can still recover. I don't know. I think there is plenty of persons in the horizon, especially at this stage of the game when there is so much statistics, so much data involved, that you can literally sit and look at the players how they are performing, and you can get bargains on many of such talents from the small teams around Europe.
Yeah, I get what you mean, and Alex, it's just again another thing with Congerton. I mean, we look at his record, and we go, and I think everybody's kind of, if you're a pessimistic person, you go, thank God he's gone. But then he's optimistic. There is some bargains in there, but overall, I agree with Akash. It's kind of a mix of everything at the moment, isn't it?
yeah, like to start things off, I don't think anyone expected that. Even I woke up this morning at whatever time it was and was like, oh, okay. Like, didn't see that one coming at all. But I think one thing that you need to look at is that, I think everyone has that hit and miss. You always get some few bargains and you always get some few stinkers. Like that's just normal. But I think, Akash, you said it perfectly. We're in this time where, statistics and analytics are such an easy to access thing. And I think you're going to be able to, it might not just be one person. You can get a group of people that can really dive deep into those analytics, and you can get that core group of people that can really be like, hey, X, Y, and Z are fabulous in the offensive creativity, but they lack in the defensive. But you can get another guy being like, hey, I just focused on another set of analytics, and this is what it says. And it's going to really allow you to broaden your viewpoint and your list on who you can actually identify as a main target. And I think as much as it is, there's a con to losing him, there's also that pro being like, it's a new set of eyes on this ever growing sport, as well as this ever growing analytics department where things change on the daily, it seems. So I think having that new set of fresh eyes is really going to help really possibly change the outlook on how we view specific players. And I think moving forward with this is that I think you're going to start seeing, Leicester really start to look at some players that, most times I don't think you'd ever expect them to look at, because the way of the game is changing and those analytics are really speaking to other people that, normally don't get the recommendation to actually, give their point of view on that subject. I think that's one thing that we need to remain open to, is that analytics is such a key part in, the sport. You can watch on what the guy plays, what they play on the field, but there's all those analytics that back it up. And usually, when those analytics are good, the guys play on the field. It's the same. So it'll be a very interesting, new new chapter in this book.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Again, I agree to a certain extent, but I think we are confusing it. There is obviously a big team behind this. It's not just obviously one person. This head of the department. This goes all the way down. So to blame him again, he's going to be the person in the firing line. I'm not blaming you, Alex, but the person at the firing line, obviously you'll get the top person, but the whole people beneath that, there is a whole system in place. And we've replaced, I think, Paulo Fonseca recently went to Roma, and then so it is, and then Steve Walsh before that, and then somebody else before that. I can't remember the name of the person. I can't remember. I think he went to Benfica or somewhere. But so there is a system in place, and he is the fall guy in terms of his transfer don't work out properly. So we've got it. We've got this in place, and the main people are there that are going to be doing that role. It's just the head, and that's the thing is he was quite a close friend of Brendan Rodgers, which is why it was even more surprising that he ended up going. And it's only in a couple of weeks now, or next week even. So because of that, obviously, I don't think, Akash, it will really disrupt things too much. Obviously, Leicester will look for a replacement, and the advantage of supporting a club like Leicester with how things are going at the moment, we trust our board. I've said before, we trust our board, we trust our things to get the decision right, to bring the right person in at the right time.
Again, knowing my club, I'm even as the centre back problem exists, I still believe that they are not going to be pushing for any centre back this season because they are going to keep the budget. And now it becomes imperative when you have that sort of mindset of not spending in the winter transfer window and not, throwing your cash away, and you're gonna look for sustainability to spend it in the next summer transfer window. The thing that becomes imperative is now, as a club like Leicester, they should be winning one of those competitions they are in, because without the European spot, I don't see how this team can, progress. Because if we are missing Europe this season at any cost, even if we're not winning the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, or in the Conference League, the repercussions are going to be higher because every team is trying to climb up. See where West Ham lands up after this season concludes. And in terms of recruitments, that's going to play a huge part. It's going to be very difficult to keep players like Tillemans into our team. I don't blame him for that, because obviously a player desires to play European competitions at his prime. And you can see Tilemas, everyone is praising him all around the league. Even our opponents, even those who hate us, is full of praises of Tilemas. And I really feel sad that, if we don't achieve at least Europa League, I think he's gonna go. And such mindset is gonna be spreading all around, because if James Madison has a great season, then he's going to be feeling somewhat left out just because he's not getting picked up in Gareth Southgate's selection, just because he plays for a side that is not participating in Europe. And that is how it affects a young player, like young hungry players. So anyhow, even if they don't spend this time in the winter transfer window, I don't blame them. They should keep the money, because it's going to be needed in the summer transfer window anyhow.
Yeah, no, we definitely will. And think we know we'll invest the money in the right players. But again, coming back to the Liverpool match, we've just mentioned it briefly. Liverpool obviously played on Sunday. They played full out in terms of a full strength squad. I'm just looking at their fixtures now. So they played on the 19th. They play on the 22nd against us. They play on the 26th against Leeds, and they play again against us on Tuesday on the 28th. So it's a full out fixture. And again, with AFCON going on as well, Alex. Akash was saying they're trying to delay it as much as possible, trying to scrap in terms of trying to stop basically Salah and Mane and Keita going. It's going to try and play into our favours. However, as we're saying, it's a really weird one to analyse because of the COVID situation. But I do fancy our chances. And I've been burnt before, so anything is possible.
Yeah, well, anything is possible, but we live in a time where, it's absolute anarchy. So, we could win like 45-0 at this point. I'm not saying we would ever win that, but like
7-2
honestly, like
against Aston Villa.
It's so hard to actually gauge like what's actually going to happen. And it's just like, I just don't know. Like, I feel like if we go back a few months, we could actually analyze a matchup and be like, hey, X, Y, and Z are injured. This is the squad. This is what's going to happen. The last few weeks, it's been like, so Vardy might be healthy. He might be okay. And then the next day, it's like, he might not be. And you're like, okay, there's 3 days before the match actually begins. And then it's like back and forth every single day. And you're like, I have no idea who's playing. And I feel like we're going to, this is where we're at. Because I don't know if you've watched any of the other Premier League games. You're like, okay, these guys are going to be playing. And then 5 minutes before the match starts, like, oh, by the way, this guy's got COVID. You're like, oh. Well, there goes my fantasy Premier League right there down the drain.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we go from there? So it's really hard. It's super hard to gauge, and it you could remain optimistic and be like, yeah, Leicester City definitely have a chance, but come match time, the squad could get vastly different. So I think I'm going to be that optimist and say, yeah, we definitely have a chance. But I'm not saying anything until I actually see the squad and the starting 11 1 hour before the kickoff, because before that, you don't know. And it's weird. It's a weird time.
It really is. No, I get what you mean. But one thing is for certain, though, because again, I thought Liverpool would dip a little bit in terms of the top scorers. I think Mane's gone further down now, but they have Mohamed Salah's on 15 goals and 9 assists, which is absolutely mental for playing 18 games. That's unbelievable. Also, one thing I want to say again, there's that thing that was going around at the weekend going, oh, Jamie Vardy, Mohamed Salah has equaled Jamie Vardy's record that I genuinely don't think a single Leicester fan actually knew, which is the 15 goals and chances created row. Did you know that, Akash? Because I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know that was a record until it was announced. And I went, okay, no problem. But that wasn't a record that even non-Leicester fans know that that's not the record that Jamie Vardy is famous for. It's not even the one he's got a Guinness Book of World Records for.
Yeah, I mean, it only surfaced before the penultimate match of Liverpool, and people didn't know. Earlier, it was about the tally about that Ruud van Nistelrooy's record, and Salah was really close again to snatch it up from Vardy, and thankfully that didn't happen. And the thunderbolt hit for the second time at the same spot, and Salah again missed on a fantastic opportunity of dethroning Jamie Vardy. And it's good. I mean, nobody knew about the record, as you said. It was under the radar because you know you can't eclipse that. Jamie Vardy achieved 11 consecutive games of scoring, and then after that, assist plus goal really diminishes the value of that record. So we didn't get to hear about establishing such a record, but we do hear it now because Salah has missed the other one. So yeah, pretty happy that that didn't happen, because otherwise one of these photos would have been gone obsolete.
I mean, it's still a record. It's designed to be broken, but at the same time, Alex, it does put into perspective how unbelievable that achievement is. Arguably one of the best runs of a Premier League player in recent history, and he still can't top it. I mean, obviously he's drew the record with Jamie Vardy now because he didn't actually got a score assist against Tottenham. But again, it was one of those things where that season was so special, and that again, as Akash has got to the side of his head, I was in the pub watching that as that goal went in, and everybody was like, we don't care if we lose this match now. We genuinely don't. We just wanted that. And the celebrations I was covered in all sorts of different kinds of people's beer for that one.
Yeah. No, you said it perfectly. I'm trying to even think of where I was for that. I think I was actually in training, so I was kind of watching it in some jank Wi-Fi on my phone or something. I can't even remember. I don't even think I actually saw half the game because of the quality. But it's just what a feat. And we can talk about all these records that can be broken, but just witnessing that and just being able to for Vardy to be able to say I hold that record, it's a testament to his playing ability and his skill. And it always makes you wonder if he played earlier on in his career in the Premier League, what he could even accomplish as a younger Jamie Vardy. It's slightly terrifying when you actually think about it. But but then you look at what he's done and what in the years that he has been here. And at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but as a fan and being able to witness all that he's accomplished, I wouldn't change a thing.
No, No, it's just perfect the way it is. And again, with Ethan puts 11, it's Jamie Vardy. We've even got a podcast with Mark. Shout out to Mark Manderfield, who's got the 11. It's 11. It's Jamie Vardy podcast, literally named after that. So shout out to him and his podcast as well. His link for his Twitter in the description. You can list that as well. Again, coming out, I want to come on to like the formations and things, but the only thing I've got to really come off is like what we've got previously, and it's really hard. And I've just realised that there's all sorts of problems wrong with this. First of all, I've got Johnny Evans in. I've just realised, which is obviously a good sign because he's probably out for this game. We don't know who's available. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have to put in the same back line. Oh no, wait, the same back line that we did. I think it will be this, or do you think? So again, 4-2-3-1. So if everybody is fit, we don't know. Jamie Vardy up top, Harvey Barnes, Dewsbury Hall. It was, I think, the same formation that we played against Napoli as well, which we don't look back on because we'll cry. We looked at obviously Dewsbury Hall. I think he's really, again, we've mentioned it before, but he's coming into his own. And considering he's playing in this kind of centre mid position, coming out to the right, it allows Maddison to do what he does best. It's a formation that if you told me before, I go, no, that doesn't work. But for some reason against Newcastle, it just clicked.
It will click. It will keep on clicking because Kieran Roseberry Hall is the most versatile player you have got on your team. He can play as a central defensive midfielder, central midfielder, and he can play on the wings, attacking midfielder. I think he has got all the bases covered, and that gives any player who is behind and ahead of him plenty of opportunities to derive the ball from him. And I was just hoping when he would unleash himself because getting 10 to 15 minutes doesn't do justice to a player like Aiden Roseberry Hall. He needs to be in the middle of the game. He needs to feel the vibe of the Premier League and needs to flesh out on his own. And once he got that first momentum going, and I think he's simply unstoppable and he'll keep on developing, and sky is the limit from him because I was very excited when he won all the records. There is all the trophies, the individual awards there is to win at Luton Town, and he was the only standout player in that club. And I was following him for that reason. Even they drew, I think Chelsea or someone in the FA Cup, and it was brilliant display from him. Even when the team was looking down, he was just his orchestration was near perfect. So I was always excited to see him, and I'm happy now Brendan Rodgers is giving him the minutes. I hope Patson Daga and Kelechi Iheanacho gets the same somehow in the coming weeks, because we are undershot but not in the attacking department. So that makes me very skeptical about the chances that he's going to get.
Definitely agree there. Again, it could be, yeah, as you were saying, Jamie Vardy or Patson Daka up on that top. It's just about this defensive line. I don't know who this is, but he's called Luke Thomas as well, and he's the only player that was available in this one. I have no idea who this is. He might have been a guy I went to school with because he just, I don't know, but he was the only player named Luke Thomas. I'm like, so that's the closest one. I don't know what happened there.
Wow.
But yeah, it just, I'm not. It's not the as you can tell. I'm making up as I go along, as you guys know. But apart from that, it's a weird one to try and analyze, I think. But Alex, anything can happen with this Leicester team. Genuinely, anything can happen. But all we know, the Premier League has confirmed that if you've got 13 players and a goalkeeper, you have to play football, which is not a lot, considering us. At the moment, 13 players and a goalkeeper is not a lot. We potentially could have that for the weekend, but I mean, the recent run of fixtures. I mean, obviously after this, and we've got Man City, then as I was saying, back to on the 28th, and then we've got Norwich. I mean, the games are just flying in now, and it's going to be to the end of this. Well, until this run, it's just going to. It's again, the Premier League have decided, right, this is all going ahead now. It's just going to be continuous, and we've still got to fit in a Tottenham game and an Everton game as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a gong show, and I think one of the other things is that I believe that if any youth players that have played have played in first team matches or have first team experience can actually play as well. Apparently that also counts. Like I don't know what happened with the Premier League. Like apparently enacted like a bunch of rules in order for them to keep playing, even if it's an absolute and total gong show. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what I read earlier this morning. Yeah, the amount of games, it's insane. especially with what's going on. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in the next week because when you
It
think about what we
changes.
have in
Even
a week.
tomorrow.
Well,
Could
that's
all
the
change
thing.
tomorrow.
And that's the thing. It's the same here in Canada. We've talked about, it's not too bad today, but tomorrow can be completely different. We don't know what we're going to expect. So it's interesting. We could, what we're talking about now could be completely null and void by, 8 p.m. my time tonight. So it's funny. It's very, very weird. And I think, I don't know. Part of me is excited because I get to watch football still, but the other part of me is like, is this the smartest thing to do? And I think at the end of the day, I think whatever the outcome is going to be is going to be the definitive answer that we eventually get. Is it's either going to be, yeah, this was a great idea, just got it all sorted out. It went fine. Or the other side of it's going to be like, well, that was a disaster. Let's never do that again. So it's going to be fun. Hold on to your hats. It's going to be a fun couple of weeks, I think.
It's definitely going to be. I think again, I've not really got anything to add to that because literally anything can happen. Akash, before we finish, you've got any other point before we finish? The only other point is I've never heard of the word gong show before. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Anyway, so I want to touch upon a slight subject here because we faced Liverpool in two quick succession, and both the times it's going to be very different. The second time is going to be in Premier League. Some of the players could potentially be in the AFCON, and we will lack players because Wilfred Ndidi, uh, Kelechi Iheanacho will be missing. Also Daniel Amarte. So considering the centre back situation, we don't know where that is going to pan out, and these players were supposed to go after the match on 26th, so they're going to be reporting sometime around 27th. So let's see how that prospers because we have got Liverpool, then Manchester City, again Liverpool. And this is one point that I strongly disagree with many of the people, that Liverpool is going to play an underfed team, all right, but they have got some brilliant players from their academy. Players like, you can't underestimate players like Harvey Elliott. Even if Harvey Elliott plays in place of Mo Salah,
Still injured,
then
right?
then
I think
Divock,
Harvey Elliott.
uh, they might be, I've not checked, but the point is that they have so many talent in the form of youngsters that gonna be deadly because on one wing you got Thiago Jota, then you have got a player who is capable of causing upsets and snatching away any points available, Divock Origi. Harvey
Mm.
Elliott, I don't know if he's fit. Then there Curtis Jones, others can come in. Their midfield is stacked at the moment because they have got Oxlade Chamberlain, they have got Keita, they, even players like Thiago, and everybody can step it up. In defense also they have a solid additional backup. They have abundance of centre backs and 3 to 4 centre backs: Konate, Virgil van Dijk, uh, Fabinho. Who else?
I think
Gomez is there.
Ethan
So
put in as well. Van Dijk, Fabinho, Thiago, Robertson are out. So that's quite, again, Van
so
Dijk's a
even if
big one
they're
for me.
out, they have got that. They have got that depth and are playing under Jurgen Klopp. These players, I have seen them give it absolutely everything to get
Mm-hmm.
any chance. So there is a heavy competition, and Liverpool is one of the sides that you cannot particularly say that suffers
Akash,
because
for
of
some
that side is
reason,
going to
I don't know what's happened. I'm going to have to stop you there. Your microphone has just gone completely. I don't know what's happened. I'm not sure exactly sure. Alex, sorry. Before we'll hand on to you before anything. Oh, it's all going. I'm gonna have to mute you. Sorry. Akash, just 1 second. Okay. Just sorry, Akash. I don't know exactly what's happened. Alex, sorry. Any final words before we continue? Before we finish up, because yeah, sorry to interrupt, Akash. I don't know what happened, and
The final thoughts is just going to be, see what happens. I really don't have a lot to really like dive deep in when it comes to this stuff right now because it just seems like every single day we're talking about something vastly different from the next day. So you just gotta remain optimistic and hope for the best at this point. So looking forward to the next match. I've missed Leicester City football and glad that it's coming back, but at the same time I'm like remain optimistic and see what actually happens as we move forward.
let's see what happens. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for Akash and Alex coming once again. And we'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.